The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Or something, but
hey guys, thanks for tuning in. It's Tuesday night here on Armed Radio. You are listening to 2AT Second Amendment Talk. I am Daniel Sanders, and joining me as always is Rod Burks. Rod, how you doing this evening?
Hey man, just living my best life. Thanks.
Excellent. So as we always do at the start of every show here, we want to give a big shout out to the troops overseas and on the home front, men and women. We appreciate everything y'all are doing for us. Keep up the good work and come home safe. We're all rooting for you here back home. So we're going to dive right into politics right off the bat, just because I saw this video and I could not wait to talk about this. So Virginia delegate Mark Levine was recently in a town hall discussion, and the moderator at this town hall was explaining that during the rallies up in Virginia last Monday, a lot of the questions he was getting from the demonstrators up there, a lot of them kept asking the same question, and he presented this question to Mark Levine: what is an assault rifle? And for the next, I think it was about an 8-minute discussion he gave on this. When I saw it, when I got done watching it, I couldn't help but think to myself, surely to God, this guy knows more about guns than what he's talking about here. And, maybe he's just trying to parody his Democrat brothers and sisters that don't know what the hell they're talking about. But no, this guy is completely ignorant about firearms.
I've watched a lot of politicians put their foot in their mouth or at least talk out of their ass, and this one, I would say, takes the cake. He talks about how pistol grips make you less accurate. And are actually designed to make, placed on military firearms, because you're trying to just inflict as many casualties as possible, suppressed by sound, maybe. A whole bunch of things that just didn't make any sense at all to me. So let me ask you, what is an assault rifle?
To me, excuse me. To me, an assault rifle is a made-up term. I think the term assault rifle has been made up by mainstream media in an effort to try and instill fear into the uneducated masses. However, if we are going to go off of what the textbook, quote-unquote, dictionary definition of an assault rifle is, and I'm not going to use the new version that says something similar to an AR-15, but basically it is a select fire weapon that has the capability of being fired in fully automatic, that uses a detachable box magazine, it's basically designed to send a lot of rounds downrange, accurately or inaccurately, as fast as possible.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds. I like how you started that whole thing, because it was. I agree 100%. Is a contrived word that instills fear, right? And because the word assault is a verb, it's an action. I don't see if I took this beer can right here and smashed it into somebody's face. Would that mean that all beer cans that are colored red, white, and blue are assault beer cans?
No, but I think you gave us an idea of what you're drinking.
Don't judge me.
No, and that's always been my argument. That's all, if I take this hammer and I smack somebody, if I use this hammer for something other than what it was intended for, and I slap somebody across the face with it because, he doesn't know a skill saw from a miter saw or whatever, have I now turned that hammer into an assault hammer?
Well, then it would be an assaulting hammer, right? And so maybe, if somebody uses a firearm in a shooting that is, offensive in nature, we should call it an assaulting rifle or the assaulting rifle. But to label them all as assault rifles, I think is it's dishonest.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, and if you haven't seen it, you've got to watch the video. And it's very easy to find. Mark Levine, assault weapons ban. That's all you have to search for it. And it will bring up this town hall. And it's the only reason why I'm not playing the clip on here is because it's a very visual video. Like, you have to see his visual representations of the difference between a hunting rifle and an assault rifle and a shotgun. He does say, and I will agree with him on this to an extent, that one of the best weapons you can use for home defense is a shotgun. I do agree with that to an extent. I actually really think the best weapon you can use for home defense is the one you're most comfortable using. But that having been said, yes, I do agree that a shotgun makes a great home defense weapon. And like I said, you've just got to watch the video, because his pantomime of all of these different types of firearms is just hilarious. And you can even hear people in the audience laughing at how stupid this guy is trying to describe all this stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think he's ever held a gun a day in his life or fired a shot in anger. But I'm sure he's got people that are on the payroll that use firearms to, defend his life. So yeah, I wonder if they're relegated to shotguns and revolvers, maybe.
Maybe. And that's the thing. Like, I can see his security detail just, sitting in the back behind the scenes, just face palming themselves, going, "Oh my God, we have to defend this motherfucker."
Well, and what bothers me is that so this guy, I understand, he's a delegate, and I'm sure he has a lot of stuff work related. But the fact that he's probably never had a gun conversation with anybody who uses or employs firearms in his defense really says a lot about his character. You know what I mean? I did a PDS thing for a short period for General Robeson, and we talked about all kinds of things. And like, so I would think that. Man, yeah, so somebody that would spend this kind of time, that hey, they're putting their life on the line to catch a bullet for him. He doesn't even have a conversation with them about, hey, let's talk about guns. How do you feel about it? Make me smart about it. Why not? Yeah, he obviously never had a conversation like that. Looked like a complete idiot. And yeah, I'm glad the internet's going after him. It's great.
Yes. So like I said, go on Google or Bing or whatever search engine you use. Is Jeeves still a thing? Is Ask Jeeves still a thing? I remember that used to be the search engine I always used way back in the day. Well, this was even back before Yahoo and all that other stuff. That was the one that I always used. Is that still a thing? I'm going to have to look into that. But yeah, go on.
I just typed it in and it brought me to ask.com.
Okay, yeah, so they've switched it from Ask Jeeves to Ask. Okay. Yeah, I remember. I do remember that now. Yeah. So yeah, whatever search engine you use, go on there. Mark Levine, assault weapons ban. Watch the video. You'll get a good laugh out of it, I'm sure. So the next thing we're going to move into, we're just going to rapid fire through everything tonight. And this is actually a pretty serious topic.
We got to make it last.
Well, yeah. We've talked about this on the show in the past, and it was this happened just this morning in Belwall, Wisconsin, I think it was. Let me get the article pulled up here.
An elementary student brings a loaded gun to school, and the teacher finds it in the backpack. Of course, the teacher secures the firearm, and I believe it was loaded. And they turn over to the principal or whoever they call. The parents' stepfather comes in, I guess, to answer for their child being bringing a firearm, loaded firearm to school. And police ended up arresting the stepfather.
Mm. Yeah. And it does say, I've got the article pulled up here now. It was Todd Elementary School in Belwall. And, it says the teacher confiscated the backpack, contacted appropriate authorities. Police arrived. 36-year-old stepfather was arrested for leaving the loaded gun within reach of the child. Charges are pending from the Rock County District Attorney's Office. It says they could not criminally charge the student because they're too young. So that tells me that child was, if I had to guess, I'd say maybe a first or second grade student.
And I mean, I guess. Yeah, if the teachers are going through the backpack, I'm guessing they're very, very young. But here's three things that I can tell right off the bat, and maybe I'm being really judgmental. But one, it's not the child's fault. It is absolutely that parent's fault, and good on law enforcement there that arrested him. Especially if it's his gun. As a responsible gun owner, you have to protect your firearm from unauthorized users. So if you do have firearms that you use to defend your home, maybe they're not in the most secure safe or vault or whatever. You at least need to impress upon those people in the house, whether they're adults, whether they're children, that they are not toys. They are tools of free citizens.
Right, absolutely. Yes, and like we have stressed, like you just stressed, and we've stressed constantly on the show in the past, it's all about responsibility. If you're going to be a responsible gun owner, then you have to take on the responsibility of making sure you're trained to use it properly, making sure you know the laws and regulations in your area and surrounding areas, and you also need to make sure the individuals in your home understand the gravity of what it takes to be a responsible gun owner and live in a home with a responsible gun owner.
Right. So if trying to teach somebody, assuming that the student was first or second grade, right? So that would make them between 6 and maybe 8 years old.
7, 8 years old, right around in there. Teach them the 4 safety rules, treat a firearm as if it's always loaded. All of that. Good luck. I mean, absolutely, try to inculcate them into that catechism, if you will, but break it down. Teach them stop, don't touch, run away, tell an adult, and then break it down. Stop. What does stop mean? Make sure they understand. What does run away? Does it mean walk away? No, get your ass out of there. Shag ass to get away from if somebody else has a firearm, because there are guns in 50% of the homes in the United States. Right.
If you have a child and you're one of the homes that you don't have firearms, you still need to teach your children that hey, guns are very real. They're tools. They're dangerous in the wrong hands.
And here's the thing about it. I did not grow up in a home with firearms. My parents used to be firearm owners, my mother especially. My mother used to love going to the firing range. And she said the reason why they decided to get rid of all their guns is when I don't even know if I was born yet. We'll just say I wasn't born yet. My older brother, they'd been visiting my grandparents, and this was back in the day when, you just let kids run around the car while you're driving down the road doing 60 miles an hour in the middle of traffic. You didn't care. And she said, my brother was riding with my grandfather. He had this, big ass gangster car, like all the cars were back then. And in the front seat, he had a snub-nosed revolver stuffed down between the seats. And which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It was the fact that the gun was stuffed between the seats and the barrel pointed up. And my brother was in the front seat of this car, just bouncing around like a toddler does. And when my parents realized that this 38 was sticking barrel up between the seats, that was when they decided, okay, yeah, maybe having a gun with children is not the safest thing. So they got rid of all their guns. And I never really touched a gun until I was in high school. And I'd gone to a friend of mine's house, and we pulled out his dad's SKS and went in the backyard and fired off a few rounds into the cow pasture. But yeah, until I joined the military.
Yeah, I had similar experiences, but with much different results. One was the my best friend growing up, Jake Landon. His stepdad was law enforcement, and he was telling me about this SKS or whatever that he had, and I was like, oh, I want to see it. And he's like, no way, no how. I mean, it wasn't in a safe, but I guess maybe law enforcement officers have a way of setting things up so that they know if somebody's tampered with or gone in to even look.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we didn't get to see it, and that was an important thing. I think, that even his stepson knew that no, I'm not getting my ass blistered for this shit. And the other one was I'm trying to remember. It must have been 6th, 7th grade. I had found a broken pistol. It was a Derringer, little tiny pocket two round breech barrel pistol. It really was just a frame of a gun. It wasn't, it wasn't operational. I took it to school, and of course, I'm showing it to my buddy Gabriel behind me in class, and so the teacher busts me not paying attention. So I grab it, throw it in, try to wedge it in my armpit, right? So I don't get caught with it, because I was wearing a denim jean jacket. Those were cool once upon a time. And of course, she calls me out. Now I got to go to the board, do a math problem, and it falls out, hits her foot. Oh man! And I got suspended for it, rightfully so. And of course, got my ass blistered when I got home. That had to have been the worst ass whooping. It still hurts to this day when I think about it. But, yeah, that's and so after that there were no guns at all. Now, and in fact, Mom didn't own the gun, or at least she'd found it. She worked for the railroad, and she'd found it on the side of the railroad tracks, and was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." Didn't work, but it was more of a keepsake. Well, not even keepsake, like oh cool, look at this little token. But
yeah, and like I said, I never really had any experience with firearms until I joined the military, and I'm actually really thankful for that, because I didn't learn any of the bad habits that I know a lot of people around here have picked up because they've been shooting daddies. They've been shooting daddies 22 ever since they're 6 years old, and they can hit a deer in the eyeball at 50 yards. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I can hit an aspirin at 2 yards.
I mean, I'll put a round through a flea's ass at 200 meters with iron sights, but okay, that's cool. And, I'm really thankful that, like I said, I received my training from professionals, I guess is the best way to put it. And it was free training too at that. So, and that's why I'm such a stickler for people being properly trained. I've seen, and we've talked about it on the show. I've talked about it to you. I've talked about this stuff to you offline. The amount of people that I see around here who, like the old man at the firing range that flagged me not once but twice. It's
that guy.
Yeah, and this is where making assumptions are dangerous, because, like I said before, I assumed this elderly gentleman who has been shooting guns all his life. I assumed, he knew at least well enough to keep the weapon pointed down range, but no. Like I said, not once, but twice, he swept me with the damn muzzle of his weapon. And like I said, I told him, if it happens again, I'm going to consider this to be an act of aggression, and I'm going to respond accordingly. So that's why I have always,
it's great that people are, interested in firearms. They want to go to the range, they want to shoot. And I think it's equally important though that eagerness is met with the same overzealous kind of attention to safety.
Mm-hmm. And
I used to roll my eyes every time we'd have a safety brief before the rifle range. I'm just like, oh my god, here we go again. And I think I'm better for it. So I don't think you can beat that drum too hard or too loud or too often.
Yeah, and it drives other Marines that I know insane, because just randomly out of nowhere, we won't even be talking about guns. We'll be talking about the UFC fight or whatever that just happened, and then out of nowhere, I'll just blurt out, "Treat every weapon as if it were loaded." The tower at Sunrise on the firing range, I still hear it to this day. I'm sure I hear it in my sleep sometimes. I've probably even yelled out in response to it in my sleep, I'm sure. And while we're on the topic of training, that's going to roll us right into our next subject. Things that you can do at home to keep up your training. And these are actually, when you think about it, these are actually really cost-effective methods. We got a couple of products here that we're going to talk about that I've never personally used, but I've seen a lot of reviews on them. I know you said you've used one of them before, and I think these are really great tools to use at home. The first one we're going to talk about is the
right. Any time you can spend on the trigger is time well spent. If even if you don't have any ammunition, and make sure check with the manufacturer to your manual to make sure that it is safe to be dry fired. And if you don't know, dry firing is pulling the trigger without any rounds in it. Absolutely make sure a gun's unloaded before you dry fire. But it's I think it is by far the most cost-effective and efficient, quickest way to improve any bad habits that you may have.
Right. So the first product we're going to talk about is the Laser Light Trainer Target System. Now, what this is, and they have all different kinds of kits for this. But in a nutshell, it's basically just a laser-activated box. And it has a bullseye target on it, and you take a specialized laser cartridge, 9mm, 45, whatever caliber, and what it does is when you pull the trigger on your weapon, and, I say pull the trigger, when you squeeze the trigger, and the firing pin hits the primer on this cartridge, it emits a laser blast. and then it gives shot feedback on the target, or it's supposed to give shot feedback on the target. Sometimes just really all depends on what the setting is.
You make it sound so cool when you described it. I mean, you're like, yeah, when the firing pin hits the primer, you get a laser blast. I'm imagining like a real laser blaster, like from Star Wars. Pew pew pew. Yeah. No, it really just pushes a button and the light comes on. But yeah, no, man, you're absolutely in the right line of work. You need to get into advertising for real.
But the basic kit for this setup is $200. And you know, when I see something like this, all the reviews and everything that I've seen on it, it's a great tool for like reaction drills. The buzzer goes off and you're drawing, sighting in, firing. And, it'll measure on top of measuring your accuracy, it can also measure your response time as well. So, you're not getting the live feedback that you do from live fire as far as follow-up shots, having to adjust for recoil and everything. But, just the act of reacting to an incident, drawing, sighting in, firing. That to me is one of the best tools that you can use.
Right, because what it's doing is it's programming that muscle memory. Because whenever the shit hits the fan, you don't have time to think. You only have time to react. And I believe I've said this before. I stole it from somewhere else. You don't rise to your level or to your expectations, right? I mean, like everybody expects they'll be able to draw, gun down 2 or 3 bad guys and holster and be all calm and cool. You don't rise to your level of expectation. You fall to your level of training. And the Marine Corps was really good at programming that muscle memory. I remember my first firefight. After it was over, one of the guys asked me how many rounds did you think I shot? And I told him, I said, well, I reloaded once. And they pulled out 12 empty ammo cans, and they said, no, Bo, you did all of that. So it just goes to show, I didn't even remember reloading. It was just muscle memory.
Right. And there's all sort of different things that you can do to, combine with your training with this. For example, one thing I know I would be doing is, I would load a snap cap in on top of my laser cartridge for this. So, for those of you that don't know, a snap cap is designed so that if your weapon is not really designed to be dry fired, then, you can load in a snap cap in the chamber and pull the trigger on it, and it will safely dry fire the weapon. It's also good for immediate action drills. I know what I've done with people in the past is I would load magazines for them, and I'd put a snap cap in a random place. So that way they would have to practice immediate action drills, tap, rack, bang. And I think that would be a good training thing for this. So you react, the buzzer goes off, you draw, fire, nothing happens. Immediate action, tap, rack, bang, draw another one, and put your shot on target.
Yeah, I would do that with students, but I would put like 2 or 3 in a row, just to really mess with them.
Right.
I mean, yeah. At that point, throw the gun at them. But
yeah. But yeah, this, like I said, this would be a great tool for practicing in home. I'm actually looking at it here on Amazon right now, and they have it listed for $195.49. And that is just the target system itself. I don't think that comes with a caliber cartridge for your firearm.
Well, your birthday's coming up, so maybe they'll give you a discount.
Maybe, who knows? Now, this is information from the manufacturer on this, from Laserlight. It has practice mode, shot timer mode, And they also have, instead of, buying a laser cartridge for your weapon, hell, they even have trainer pistols that they sell that have the cartridge built into it, so you don't have to worry about damaging your firearm, breaking the firing pin, whatever the case may be. You can buy one of the kits with the trainer pistol and practice the exact same way without having to worry about damaging your weapon.
It'd be great if they had your model, whatever it is you carry. You know what I mean? So it's an exact replica.
Right. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken,
they like to build that.
If I'm not mistaken, they actually do. I'm checking their website right now to see if they do. Let's laser light. There we go.
So speaking of gadgets, while you're looking that up, I saw this really cool product because you were talking about SHOT Show earlier, and it's basically it's a camera that tells you where your round went. It's a spotting scope, or a camera for your spotting. I'm not exactly sure on the details, but the writing is very small, and I've clicked on it so many times now it's gone to a different page. But it's it tells you instantly where your round went. So if if you're shooting a 22, great. You shoot it all day to get your sight zeroed. But I had a 338 Lapua once, and each round is about the same cost as a bacon double cheeseburger from Sonic. So it's not really a bullet you want to use 10 rounds to zero your scope, or even your iron sights if you're so inclined. But I think a product like that, and I can't find it now, but I think it sold for about $300. So I guess you would have to shoot a lot,
right,
really far, for it to pay for itself. But I mean, I'm kind of a gadget guy. I think it's cool. I'm sure it'll come down in price.
Right.
But I'm really interested to see how it works.
Okay, so I'm on Laser Light's website. I'm looking at their laser trainers, and of course they've got their bore sighters and cartridges and stuff on here, but they also have 3 different trainer pistols. They are $150 each. The first one that they have is a realistic size revolver of a Smith & Wesson J-frame. It's a all
That's
three
a
of
great
these
revolver.
Yes. All 3 of these trainers have the same 5.5 pound trigger pull. It says it's advertised as familiar weight to the actual pistol. Come over here to the compact, again, $150, 5.5 pound trigger pull, realistic size of a Glock 43. And then their full size trainer is realistic size of a Glock 19, and I can't really say that that's a full size. The 17 is a full size. The 19 is more of a double stack compact to me, but that's neither here nor there. But again, they all have 5.5 pound trigger pull. They are blue trainers with built-in laser emitters, and it looks like from the picture, it looks like the rear sight might even be adjustable on these. I can't tell. Wow. Looks like it could be. But $200 for the target system itself, $150 for a trainer pistol, so you don't have to worry about damaging your own. That's $350 for an in-home training setup. I don't have to go to the range. I don't have to spend gas to drive 40 minutes to the range and buy ammo and all that other stuff and targets. That's really not a bad investment.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're in a place that, like you said, it's not convenient to shoot. Or, like here in I'm sure like there, in the summertime when it gets hot, man, I mean, spending time out on the range is, if it's an outdoor range, can be brutal. So if you can do it in the comfort of your own home, just to hone those skills. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great tool. Before the show, you'd mentioned something about Glock coming out with a new pistol.
Yeah. And before we get into that, there was another product, I was going to push. Now this is more for the budget friendly, setup. So this is a product called iTarget. I've been following this thing for a while, and they've come down on their price over the years. But basically what it is a paper target on a sled. You download the iTarget app on your phone. It works for Apple and Android. You put your phone on the sled, turn the app on. The camera is facing the paper target. Excuse me. And again, you're using a laser cartridge for your pistol, and it's recording your shot impacts on paper. With this laser pistol, you can track your progress, keep score for you. It has all different kinds of firing modes on it. And for $100, for $100, $99.95 on their website, you get the target sled, a paper target, and a laser bullet cartridge for your firearm. Bought individually, the laser cartridges they sell are $60. And then the target sled with the target is $50. So, you're saving $10 buying the full package. But yeah, again, a really great in-home training setup that is really cost efficient. And let's see here. Oh, of course. I was going to try and see what all they basically have. All from what I've read, they basically have all of your basic pistol caliber cartridges, and then it looks like I'm looking at the picture right here. Here we go. Here's the list. So the following calibers are available right now: 9mm, 45 ACP, 40 Smith & Wesson, 38 Special, 380 ACP, 223 556, and 357 SIG. Now, right now on the app itself is free to download, and the basic free version comes with just a bullseye scoring system. They also have available for $5 an add-on for the app that is a quick draw, which is what we were talking about earlier, React drills. And then coming soon, it says here, coming soon for an additional $5. High score, there are 5 numbered circles. Your training goal is to shoot the number that the app calls out. So that's actually a really good training drill, too. That's target recognition.
Yeah. Like when I take my students to the range, if they're doing more than the CWP, I like targets that have different colors and shapes, just so I can do the same. Like evens, odds, ones, threes, squares, circles, reds, blues, things like that. But to have all of that in an app right there at home, people aren't going to pay me anymore. They're gonna go out and get these products.
Yeah,
right?
And I wouldn't say that, because there's really, like we've said before, there's really no replacement for actually being on the range and actually firing your pistol, your rifle, whatever it is. This is great, like we said, for just in-home, just having the trigger time. But as far as actually being out on the range, using live ammunition, so on and so on, you can't beat that.
Right. You can't simulate the noise and the smell and the feel. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a great product. I highly recommend it.
Right.
We're not getting paid for plugging this, are we?
No, we're not. No,
okay. I just wanted to make sure. Well, if you're getting paid and I'm not, then don't talk about it.
If I'm getting paid, I want to know where my money is. No, these are just some product ideas that I've seen that I think would be really good in-home training tools that people can use. Because like we've said before, shooting is a perishable skill. And if you're like me and you hate going out in the really cold, and, you know, also, like I said, the range that I have to go to is almost an hour away. So, you know, the gas expense, the time, the cost of ammunition and everything, you know, I can't really afford to go more than maybe once a month, twice a month if I've had a good month at work. So this would be a really good training alternative just to keep, you know, my muscle memory just for my trigger and everything, and my draw skills and everything. Keep the muscle memory for all that alive. But yeah, like I said, there are a couple of really good products that I think people would want to look into to see about in-home training. Now, like you had said, SHOT Show just happened. I don't know if it's still going on or if it just ended, but I know it was just recently. And
24th is when it ended.
Okay. And yeah, Glock has released a 22 caliber rimfire pistol. It's the first rimfire Glock that they've produced, and they're calling it the Glock 44. Looking at it on their website right now, it says Glock 44.
I'm so confused by Glock's numbers.
Well, the Glock 22 was already taken.
I would think that a Glock like 45 would be 45 caliber. But you know, I mean, I'm not a smart guy, so I should just leave it alone.
Yeah. I don't understand their marketing behind all of that either and everything. But I do know the video that I was watching about this. He did ask her about that. You know, now this isn't the Glock 22 because even though it's a 22 long rifle, it's not the Glock 22 because you already had the Glock 22. Yeah, that's right. So we named it the Glock 44. But it says on Glock's website,
which is twice as much as a 22. Ah, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah. There you go. Glock 44, real Glock, new caliber, experience 22 long rifle. This is, like I said, this is on Glock's website. Once you start with perfection, you stay with perfection. The Glock 44 is the ideal pistol to start or enhance your shooting experience. The innovative design of the hybrid steel polymer slide chambered in our first 22 caliber round provides a lightweight and low recoil functionality for optimal control. The Glock 44 was thoroughly tested with a wide variety of ammunition to ensure maximum performance and redefine what small can do. The Glock 44 is a compact size pistol with the ability to adapt to nearly every hand size by using the different backstraps supplied with the pistol. Also comes standard with the Glock Marksman barrel for increased accuracy and precision. The right equipment is essential. The Glock 44 comes with adjustable rear sights and 2 load-assisted magazines. Everything that a well-prepared shooter needs. Now,
well, man, they are really going all out for this marketing thing, and it kind of makes sense. One of the things I don't like about Glocks, and I'm not a hater. I mean, like they're a great gun. I wouldn't tell anybody not to get one. I just tell people why I don't get one. And one of them is because of that. It's got just a weird hump on the back. And it's, for me, it's just unnatural. But if your entire shooting experience that you've had from the very beginning, starting with the 22, has had the Glock hump, then you would think that the Glock hump is normal, and that would be, you know, probably the most comfortable and you know what I mean? So,
right.
So yeah, it all comes to light. The whole Glock hump was, they were programming their customers to like the Glock hump, so that they don't like other brands.
And, you know, I'm actually sitting here holding my Glock in my hand right now. And, you know, for the longest time, I was just like you. I just didn't like the way a Glock felt. And for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, hump is right at the bottom of the pistol grip on the backhand side where the back strap would be. It kind of flares out a little hump right there, and it's real awkward at first sitting in your shooting grip. But the thing that drew me to it when I was...
And just like you were talking about the training, though, you can overcome that through repetition and consistency. I didn't like it from the beginning, so I'm just kind of like, I'm a SIG fanboy. I'll admit, in Springfield too. Did I tell you I got the P365 SAS?
I think you'd said something about it before the show last week, but I don't think we actually talked about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know I'm talking about old stuff now because it was like the 2019 gun of the year. But it's I got it. It is really cool. It's different though because the rear sight. So there is no front sight. Okay. The sight is basically you have a hollow circle and a solid circle, and it uses some kind of like the little fiber optic tubes that you see, and I don't think they're like iridium filled or anything, because I don't think it glows in the dark. I haven't actually looked at it in the dark, only in the daylight. But basically the idea is that you get the solid circle in the center to be centered inside the hollow circle. Mm-hmm. And I mean it's a really great pistol. I mean, my initial thought of the P365 was I was like, man, it's really small. I don't have huge hands, but yeah, that was just my initial impression. And I still think that, but I mean, it's a micro compact. You're not going to be taking long range shots with this. This is basically get the fuck off me gun,
right?
And I think it's an awesome EDC in my opinion. But that's my personal review of the 365 SAS.
Right.
I'll let you know. I've only put about 30 rounds through it, so more fun.
Well, they were saying about this Glock, and like it says on their website too. Well, actually, no, I don't think it does say on their website. Now that I'm sitting here reading back over this, so the Glock 44, the 22 caliber Glock, is basically a 22 caliber clone of the Glock 19. Everything about it is set up the exact same as a Gen 5 Glock 19, with the exception of the fact that it's a 22 caliber. So Glock has also said they plan on releasing a threaded barrel for their 22 caliber, and MSRP they said is around $450. Realistically, you could probably pick one up in the store. Said cheapest price you'd probably be able to pick one up in the store is around $350, $360, somewhere in there. So again, another cost-effective trainer, because with the exception of, 2 years ago when they had the scare on 22 ammo, and 22 ammo just became ridiculously expensive. 22 ammo has come back down in price now, and now you can go back out and continue to plink all day long for pretty inexpensive cost, in my opinion. The only thing...
Yeah, it's. I just looked up the Ruger Mark IV, which is one of my personal favorite 22 pistols. And I don't know if you've ever fired or more importantly disassembled any of the Mark Rugers, but the Mark IV is they've corrected everything they did difficult on the previous Marks. The one I have, threaded barrel, but a lesson learned, and I want to share it with our listeners. Do not put the lower in an ultrasonic cleaner. I did this, and I learned that the lower is aluminum. Ultrasonic cleaners puncture aluminum.
Oh.
I mean, it doesn't really puncture it like punch holes. It like perforates it.
Right.
So it actually kind of looks cool now because it's all stainless steel. It used to be all black. So my lower is like bright and shiny, whereas the barrel and the upper, the upper and the barrel is all kind of one. or all black, shiny black. So anyway, so yeah, make sure if you use an ultrasonic cleaner for anything to clean guns, make sure it's not aluminum. Use a magnet or something.
You talking about that just reminded me. I don't know if I'm sure you saw it once or twice before, the movie "Don't Stop Mom" or "Stop My Mom Will Shoot." The old Sylvester Stallone movie, where he's a cop and his mother comes to live with him, and she's going around cleaning his house, and she finds his gun. He's got like this matte black Beretta 9mm, and she takes it over to the sink, fills the sink up with water, puts dish detergent in there and everything, and she begins cleaning his gun for him. He finds it later on, and all of the bluing has been stripped off of his gun, and he now has a stainless steel Beretta 9mm. That is what I just pictured in my head when you were talking about that.
but all kidding aside, soap and water is actually one of my favorite things to use because it doesn't, it doesn't remove the finish, but it gets rid of all the gunk and the grime.
Right. I'm still old fashioned.
But you do have to get rid of all that water.
Yes.
So and one of my techniques, and I know we're coming close to the end, but a technique I'd like to share. Sure. So I'll use the soap and water. Give it a good scrub. Use like compressed air, like an air compressor, just to blow off the water. And then, and maybe one of our listeners can tell me I'm fucking shit up, but I use denatured alcohol, and I'll dip it real quick, and what that does is it'll remove any of the water that may be in places where I couldn't hit with my air compressor, or because sometimes air compressors can build up condensation. So the idea is to flash remove any water. And then right away, get that sucker in some heavy duty kind of oil, like a gun oil made by I think Lucas is the one I'm using. But basically rehydrate the pores in the metal, and then reassemble. But either soap and water or ultrasonic cleaner. Those are my two deep cleaning options, and I like them a lot.
Huh? I've first and foremost, I didn't know. Wait, no. Now that I think about it, I was about to say I didn't know Lucas made gun oil, but now that I think about it, yeah, I have seen it before. And now that I think, of course, I use.
It's a really cool blue color. It's it's easy to see. It's not real thin. So you put it on. You wipe it in, and it absorbs. It protects. And if I've got guns that have been a little weathered, that's what I'll slather it on and she'll rock and roll.
Excellent. I'll have to look into some of that stuff then, because I'm just a rim oil kind of guy. Like I'll break everything down. I'll get my bore snake out.
No, not the bore snake.
You don't like bore snakes?
Okay, so they're good for a quick. Hey, I'm going to clean it real fast. Just as a cursory. But that's not a deep clean option, man. Every so often I'll still break out the bore brush and the patches and all that other stuff. But yeah, for the most part, if I'm just doing, like you said, just a quick clean, just a field strip, then I'll spray rim oil on the brushes on the bore snake. I'll put lubricating oil on the tail end of it. And I'll give it a couple of good swipes through there, and yeah, it's good. Hey, yeah, it's great for a field expedient or a, hey, I know I've neglected this gun for a little bit, but I still want to get a few more rounds before, and it just makes you feel good about yourself.
I want to ask you about one of these real quick, and I know you've seen them, the 12 gauge bore cleaners. They're the 12 gauge shells that you fire and it cleans your bore on your shotgun.
No. I'm old fashioned, man. The Marine Corps was like, hey, CLP or soap and water. Like anything else is heresy, and you should be crucified for it. I've probably violated my own edicts, but the point is that anything you shoot to clean, it's a great gimmick. I'm sure it'll sell products,
and that's what I'm thinking. Like,
I don't think that's how any of this works.
Yeah, that's exactly my thought process on it. Is, you're firing a projectile to clean your bore, so you're basically doing the thing that requires cleaning to clean your weapon. That just
so by using this product, you're going to have to clean it again. It's kind of a self-licking ice cream cone.
Exactly. That just.
I've actually never seen one. Wow.
I've never seen one in person. I've just seen. Yeah, I've never actually seen one in person. I've just seen the reviews on it. But we're going to have to leave it there. We're going to have to start wrapping it up. Don't forget to go on Facebook and follow our page, 2AT Second Amendment Talk. Also, be sure to look up 2A Training, Second Amendment Training. That's Rod's training group there in South Carolina. And give us a shout. Let us know what you think. And also, don't forget to tune in next Monday for my show, Two Beards Talking, and be sure to look us up there as well, Two Beards Talking on Facebook. I got nothing else here. Rod, you got anything?
Man, I got lots to say, but no time to say it. But hey, I just want to send out all my love to the troops and to the men and women in uniform, both home and abroad.
Absolutely. Yep. We appreciate everything our men and women in uniform are doing for us overseas and on the home front. This has been 2AT Second Amendment Talk right here on Armed Radio. I'm Daniel Sanders for Rod Burks. Thanks for listening, everybody.